Hi Year 2, Mrs Davis here, and we're going to be doing an art lesson. So it's going to be Tudor houses. So you're going to, at the end of the lesson, I'd like you to produce a drawing, a line drawing, an observational drawing of a Tudor house. We're going to look at Tudor houses, how all their different features, what they were made from. Then we're going to look at use a pencil to create different shading, which will help you when you do your observational drawing of your Tudor house. And then you have it yourself and hopefully uploading it or sending it through on the email, the home learning email address. Okay, so look at the features of a Tudor house, thinking about what a Tudor house was made from and how it looks. Obviously, it looked very different today. We've been thinking about the Great Fire of London, and so we already know that the houses were made from wood and straw. Have a look now with some pictures. So if you bear with me one moment, I will bring up some pictures and some features of Tudor buildings. Okay, that's just loading now. And here we go. So it's a lovely Tudor building, and we're going to look at all the features that make up a Tudor building and learning about the materials as well that they're made from. We have something called wattle and daub. So houses were made of wooden frames, but the gaps were filled in with twigs or wattle, and dung, daub, was smeared over the top. So if you're with somebody now, you can have dung or daub might be. Okay, yes, a lot of you may probably animal poo. So that's quite a different thing, but obviously very effective in those days to keep the houses nice. As you can see here, all the black lines that we see on Tudor houses is the timber frame is covered in black tar to stop it from rotting, because if wood gets wet, it will rot. Moving on to the next slide. As we know, we talked about houses being made, Tudor houses being made from wood. The wood at the frame were cut by hand all the time because they didn't have machines in those days. This was over 300 years ago to cut the wood and the beams that made for the frame. So they had to do it by hand, and so sometimes they looked a little bit uneven. We're looking at the roofs in these pictures. So on this picture here, quite steep roofs made from, oh, I wonder if you can have a look and see. Have a look in this picture and in this one. Talk to the person whether you think what material those roofs were made from. Okay, yes, so coming back, we're having a look. These were made from clay tiles, and this house was made. The thatch is the material is that they used straw and twigs to thatch houses. Now, we did talk about this in class when we were talking about the Great Fire of London, the jetty. So the upper floor of Tudor houses stuck out half of the Tudor houses, and this was called a jetty. And in some houses, they had 2 or 3 jetties. So if you had a very narrow street, people on the top floor of a 2 to 3 jettied house would be able to shake hands with each other out of their bedroom. Obviously, this didn't help with the fire spreading very quickly. Now, here we have lots of tiny. In those days, the glass was very expensive to making great big pieces, big large pieces. So they would place in a metal frame, as you can see here. So lots of little detail. You could think about this detail when you're drawing your pictures of your house. You could do here, crisscrossing, crossing over, and shading. Features again. So wattle and daub. This is what they were made from. Houses, the walls made from wattle, creating the wooden frame, painted with black. Stop it rotting. Very steep roofs. Can you remember? Yes, clay tiles or thatched roofs. The jetties, which stood out and helped going upwards rather than going outwards. And the tiny panes of glass at the window. Now, last shows all of these features with a beautiful Tudor house in the centre. And I'm just going to ask you to pause the video for one moment, to the person with you, and talk about which feature is, and match it to which part of the house you think it belongs to. Off you go. Okay, and then we're back together again. So you can put at the end of this video, pause and keep the photograph of this house to draw this one, or there's some other photographs of Tudor houses provided for you. So what I'd like you to do now is a YouTube video about how to create different effects with your pencil, how to shade, to use your lines, I would like you to create a line, an observational drawing of a house of your choice. You may choose a house from a book at home if you have one, or your own if you'd like to find one on the internet. It's up. I'd like you to work really hard and look very carefully. See if you can include many of those features that we've just talked about. Can you include the black timber lines, the small window panes, the jetties hanging out over maybe houses, overhanging the top layer of the house, overlaying the bottom. See if you can include all these features, maybe another as well. So I will look forward to seeing all your lovely drawings. Please send them in to the home learning email address. Have fun and enjoy. Okay, goodbye.